the prison population rates, the number of persons per 100,000 population, is decreasing in general in Europe. Then each country has its own evolution, but in general it's decreasing. It reached a peak in 2011 and has been decreasing since then. This is accompanied by also a decrease in the flow of entries into prison, so the people that are entering into prison. And this, of course, has an influence on the prison density, what most well known as overcrowding. There are less countries which are suffering from prison overcrowding. Moldova is a country that has a high prison population rate, 200 people per 100,000 inhabitants, and this may be linked to the length of the sentences imposed. Really, it's like 3 times the sentences in Moldova are like 3 times higher than in the average European level, and this has an influence. People sentenced to long-term imprisonment remain in prison year after year, and then they keep the prison population rate, the detention rate, the number of persons per 100 inhabitants very high.
And what would be the explanation from your point of view?
Well, each country has a tradition of punitivity, and some countries apply longer sentences than others. If you compare the Nordic countries, they usually apply sentences that are less harsher than the ones that are applied in Moldova, for example.
The connection between criminality and the sentences, is there any?
There is a connection which is indirect. Of course, punishment is the answer to offenses, and so there is some relationship. But when you look at the prison population rates, they accumulate the persons who are sentenced to prison every year. So if you have a very punitive approach, then even if your criminality rate is going down, the numbers will remain high.